top here. Write and solve systems of equations using addition. -4 times a number plus 4 times another number is 0. When we use a number and another number, we're talking about x and y. So -4 times a number would be -4x. Plus 4 times another number, 4y, is 0. Is equals 0. Let's go for down here. 4 times a number, 4 times x. If it's a number is x up here, a number is x down here. Minus 7 times another number. If another number is y up here, another number is y down here, is 18. Solve the system. Let's do it. We're going to add straight down. Look at this. You're ready? I'm just going to draw a line there. And we're going to have, all right, our x's are going to cancel out. And then 4y minus 7y is -3y equals 18. Divide both sides by -3. And y equals -6. There we go. We've got our y value. We've normally been solving for x first. Now we're going to solve for y first. Okay, so we're going to plug that back in. Remember, I'm going to plug it into the top equation. So I'm going to have -4x plus 4 times, instead of y, -6 equals 0. Which is -4x minus 24 equals 0. Let's add that 24 to both sides. -4x equals 24. Divide both sides by -4. And x equals -6. Look at that. And now that we have our y, we have our x, let's put the points in, but let's put them in right this time, right? Last time. I'm just going to put them over here. So we know, I guess I can put it right here. Our point should be -6. Well, I guess if they're the same, -6, -6. All right, so we solved it in the top. Now here's the deal. Whichever one you solve it for, I always use the top, but whichever one you use, you just have to use the opposite to check it. Because if you solved it in the top, it's going to work in the top. We need to make sure it works in both now. So I'm going to check it in the bottom equation, which is check colon, and in the bottom I'm going to put 4 instead of x, -6, minus 7 instead of x, -6. Hopefully that equals positive 18. 4 times -6 is what? -24. Negative times negative is a positive. 7 times 6 is 42. So plus 42 equals 18. And guess what? 42 minus 24 is indeed 18. 18 equals 18. Boom. We're good to go. All right, now a little bit more writing. I'm sorry, it's that kind of a day. So let's go to our notes. And we're going to talk about using elimination method with subtraction. So go ahead and write these down. You'll notice they're very similar. In fact, step 3, I don't care if you want to, you can write same as with addition or same. It's the same exact step 3. The steps 1 and 2 are just a little different. Because this one says write the system. So like terms with the same coefficient are aligned. Notice this one says same coefficients instead of opposite. So like we see up above, these two 4s are the same, so we're going to make sure they're aligned on top of each other. And then we're going to subtract one equation from the other, eliminating one variable. So now I know if I take 4x and subtract that 4x, that it's going to end up getting rid of it. Just like adding opposites, subtracting like coefficients is going to get rid of them. And I'll show you how to do this, because you can't just subtract this one. You have to subtract them all. And we'll talk about distributing that subtraction sign. So go ahead and write this down. Awesome. Let's roll with it. Ready, set. It is time. So pause this if you need to. I'm going back to the actual work. Now, hopefully you've got that filled out. We're going to solve the system using subtraction. I'm actually going to do number 4 first, and you'll see why. I want you to see it work really well. We'll go back here. This one, let's just say it has fractional answers. And they're nice, they work out, but it can look confusing. So here, notice we've got these lined up. X is above X's, Y is above Y's, whatever you got to do. And when I'm looking at this, I have matching Y's. So I need to subtract. I'm always going to subtract the bottom one. And to subtract it, I'm really just going to distribute this negative. It's like multiplying everything times negative 1. And I'm going to rewrite these equations to the side. So this one stays the same, 3x plus 6y equals 30. But this is going to become negative 5x minus 6y equals negative 6. See how I've distributed that negative, and it just makes everything inside opposite. If it was positive, it's negative, it's negative, it's positive. These were all positive, so they all became negative. Now, we're going to do like we did before and add straight down. 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. Those are gone. Equals 30 minus 6 is 24. Look at how that works. Awesome. Divide both sides by negative 2. With that x equals negative 12. And now we're off to the races. Please pause this, take a moment, try to solve this on your own, see if you can get through it. And here we go, I'm going to do it. All right, so I'm going to take that x, plug it back in. I'm just going to do it over here. I'm always going to plug it into the top, so I'm going to have 3 times negative 12 plus 6y equals 30. Awesome, so that's negative 36 plus 6y equals 30. Add that 36 to both sides. 6y equals 66, or when I do the division, we know that our y equals 11, right? Oosh. So our ordered pair that we should have is negative 12. Got to put that in the right order. X first, right? And then y. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens here. Check that in the bottom equation, right? Which is, now I'm going to go back to the original equation, 5x plus 6y equals 6. So I'm going to have 5 times my x of negative 12 plus 6 times my y of 11 should equal 6. And let's see what happens. 5 times negative 12 is negative 60. 6 times 11 is 66 equals 6. And those should be added, by the way. Negative 60 plus 66 is 6, so I get 6 equals 6. Check. This is indeed my ordered pair. Awesome. Okay, for this one right here, take a minute. Notice we have matching x's, so we're going to multiply the bottom through by a negative. Take a minute, pause this, rewrite these equations like I did over here, multiplying by the negative. Okay, I'm trusting you did that, so I'm just going to rewrite the top one, which is 4x plus 6y equals 8. The bottom one, when I multiply and distribute that negative through, becomes negative 4x, now they're opposite, but then a plus 2y equals a negative 9, okay? Because that negative becomes positive, right? So these cancel out. When I add straight down, this becomes 8y. And 8 minus 9 is negative 1. This is what I told you. This one's going to have a fraction because when I divide both sides by 8, I get y equals negative 1/8. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. So we've got our y, and I'm going to plug it into the top. Let's not freak out about it. It's a fraction. You'll be all right. So I'm just going to square off myself a little area, and instead in the top I'm going to have 4x plus 6, and instead of y, negative 1/8 equals 8. And watch what happens. First of all, I have 4x. That's going to stay the same. What goes into both? Remember, I can write this over 1. What goes into both 6 and 8? 2 does. 2 goes into 8 4 times, goes into 6 3 times. And nothing changes there, so I end up having a positive times a negative is a negative, and I'm left with 3/4 equals 8. Now, I still want to get rid of those fourths. So to do that, how do I get rid of a denominator of 4? I'm going to multiply everything times 4. And we get 16x. Got to distribute it, right? Times 4, times 4, times 4. These cancel out, so I'm left with minus 3 equals 32. So let's add 3 to both sides. Add 3. 16x equals 35. Divide both sides by 16. Divide both sides by 16. And that's where I'm going to leave it. X equals 35 over 16. That's why I said this one's going to look a little ugly. But let's check it out. So it should be that my coordinate where they meet each other at is 35 over 16 and negative 1/8. And this, by the way, is the type of problem you really need to use systems of equations for algebraically, because you are not going to guess these numbers if you're graphing this, right? It's not going to happen. And yes, we can still do a check. Watch, it actually works out really nice. We're going to check it in the bottom. Again, the 4x minus 2y equals 9. So I'm going to have 4 times my x, which is 35 over 16, minus 2 times my y, which is negative 1/8. And it tells me this should equal 9. Let's see if that's going to work. So I'm going to cancel out. That goes to 4. 4 goes into 16 4 times, goes into 4 once. And I'm left with 35 over 4. And then I have a negative times a negative, so that's going to get me a positive. And 2 goes into 8 4 times, goes into 2 once. So 1 times 1, I'm just left with 1/4 equals 9. Well, they have a common denominator, so 35 fourths plus 1/4 is 36 fourths equals 9. What's 36 divided by 4? It's 9. Does 9 equal 9? Check. See how that worked out nicely? Look at that, and you guys were worried. All right. Well, that is today's lesson on elimination using addition and subtraction. With that said, peace out. Pause it if you need to. There's the final. Let me zoom out. There you go. Move your hands, Tim. All right, bye.